Nobody looks like what they really are on the inside. You don't. I don't. People are much more complicated than that. It's true of everybody. Nobody looks like what they really are on the inside. I don't, and you don't. That's a quote from the book The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman. And side story, I met him and have an autographed copy of this very book. So that's exciting. But what you look like on the inside might be very different than what you look like on the outside. And the inside is where you hold your emotions. Emotions are aligned with the suit of cups and water energy. The suit of cups, the story of the cups in the minor arcana. And that is the topic of today's episode of the Expedition to Soul podcast. We know that you were born magical. We know that you are intuitive, and we know that you are brimming with everyday enchantment. Here at the Sisters Enchanted, we believe in intention, we believe in intuition, and we believe in everyday magic. Welcome in to the Expedition to Soul podcast. Welcome back into part 4 of our special tarot series, all about, the story within the suits, the minor arcana here. And we're actually going to have a 5th episode in this series where we talk a little bit about the major arcana. Now, the major arcana, it's a long story, the Fool's Journey. So we're not going to go into the whole thing when we get there, but we're going to talk a little bit about it. Today, though, episode 4 in this series is all about the suit of cups. Now, the suit of cups in tarot, it's lined with the element of water, the energy of autumn. In our expansion archetypes, the dreamer energy, and it's your emotions. So where pentacles is behaviors, the swords are your perception, the wands are your experience, the cups are your emotions. And we hold our emotions in our inner selves. If you're a person who loves astrology, you might want to look to your moon sign. Your moon sign can say a lot about your emotions, and sort of how you bottle them up and then let them out, maybe at the not opportune times. Now, the thing about cups in tarot is that just like every other story, we have ace through 10, right? We have ace through 10, and then we have our conflict at the 5 part, that midpoint. Now, prior to our conflict here, though, in some of the other suits, we see that after the conflict is where there might be a shift in energy, like in, well, not some of the suits, more specifically in the suit of wands, we have the shift happen right after the 5, right? Where things look great, conflict happens, things don't look so great. And that's that's the energetically, it's the suit that comes before this one in the seasonal wheel. When we look at the elements, when we look at our expansion archetypes, and when we look at our 5-eye spiral, the cups is ideate, and that comes after insight. So that comes after the wands and that fire energy. Anyway, I'm getting confusing. I apologize. So the cups here, we start out with 2 people, and they're sort of like, I don't know, they're holding the cups together. It's a card that represents like loving emotion, people coming together. It could be friends, could be lovers. And then we have our 3 of cups, which is celebration. The people are kind of like cheersing, or they've got their cups up in the air, their goblets. Then we have the 4 of cups, and it's a person kind of unwilling to receive. So we have the 4 of pentacles where you're unwilling to let go, right? Now here with the 4 of cups, we're unwilling to receive. And then we have the 5 of cups, which is looking at loss. So in the 5 of cups, we are focused on what we've lost, but not on what we still have, right? From there, then we continue on the cups journey. Now, the cups journey and the emotions here, there's coming together, there's refusal to receive, which is very emotions based, there's loss, there's like childhood energy and sharing. Then we have choices and decisions, we have leaving behind, and then we have fulfillment, and we have fulfillment there at the end. So we can see through our emotional journey in the suit of cups that we kind of ebb and we flow. We've got this great energy, we've got this like conflict, not so great energy. Then we kind of write ourselves, we've got to make decisions. But when we make decisions, that requires leaving something behind, right? In order to feel fulfilled, we need to leave something behind. Now, that's the story of the suit of cups in the minor arcana. When we look at our expansion archetypes, if you're a dreamer, which is actually the smallest section of people here, we've had about 1,100 people take our expansion archetypes quiz and participate in that program where you learn all about how you sabotage and manifest based on your archetype. And the smallest chunk of people are our dreamers here. So that's interesting for sure. But just like with the cups, and when we get to the 7 of cups, you need to make a choice. And the 8 of cups, then you need to leave something behind in order to move forward. Our dreamers have a tendency to get caught up in what could have been or what should have been. Rather than visioning a new way forward and sort of attached to could haves, should haves, would haves. And this is because in order to move forward and in order to move forward and feel fulfilled, we have to detach from what we thought things should have been, the way we thought things should have been. We have to detach from expectation. We have to detach from other people and our emotional ties to other people. We have to detach from the relationships that we're still holding on to because we think could have, should have, would have, right? Rather than what is and what will be. So the story of cups, it's this emotional journey in a lesson, really, a masterclass in receiving, in experiencing emotion with other people, in the emotional connection to decision making, and then moving forward based on those decisions. And the reminder that to have emotional fulfillment, we have to make those decisions and let some things go. And that's really hard. It's the making decisions and letting things go that does not come easily. The cups is also aligned with the energy of autumn, as I mentioned. And in autumn, it's no different for the world around us. If you live in a place where the trees lose their leaves in autumn, the trees have to make the decision to let the leaves go, to let everything fall away, shed away, in order to make space for what will come next. And that has to happen in order for the next thing to come. That cycle must come to an end to make space for something else. And that's what we see with emotions. We have to let cycles come to an end in order to make space for something else. When we get to the fourth eye in our 5 eye framework, which is ideate, that's really where the cycle is coming to an end in order to start again and make space for a new intention. We have to let the vision go, reimagine it in a new way so that our intention can be born again, right? It's the same with the earth, with water, and we think of how water, it's also the cycle of water, right? It comes down to earth, goes back up again, comes back down, goes back up again. That whole science bit, I can see the graphic in my mind. I hope you can see it. Go back to middle school with me or whenever we learned that, right? And water's doing this cycle as well. So this is the story of the cups. It's this emotional cycle. It's receiving, it is grieving, it is making space, making decisions in order to reach fulfillment. And then we start again and we go through that emotional process again and again and again. Now, if you're a dreamer in the expansion archetypes, as I mentioned before, you might hold on where you really need to let go in order to reach fulfillment. Now, we all have all of the archetypes within us, so all of us can learn from this lesson. Where do we need to let go in order to complete one cycle and start another? Where do we need to let go in order to complete one cycle and start another? And as I started the top of this podcast with the quote from Ocean at the End of the Lane, where is your inner self not in alignment with this outer self that you're presenting? Where are your emotions not in alignment with what is on the outside? Or how is your outer life not in alignment with what you desire on the inside? And how do you make that happen? By making choices, by grieving what needs to be let go, by letting those things go and making the choice so that you can reach fulfillment and, dare I say, alignment and live a life that feels soul led and soul charged. We see these stories throughout tarot, throughout the archetypes. We see them in the seasonal wheel, the seasonal year around us. These stories, these lessons are everywhere. They're what make us whole. And we can use the tarot as a tool to help us zoom out and see these stories. One of the things that I see with people is this desire to memorize tarot when really I mean, we can just lay out the cards in order, see the story, and get so much just by looking at that story. We don't need to do all of the things that we think we need to do to learn tarot. The story is right there. The story is powerful. It holds your well of wisdom within you in its imagery. So you can see it right there in front of you. Where are you in that journey? So if you've been feeling a little stuck emotionally, if you've been feeling like, a cycle needs to end, you just don't quite know what to do or how to go about it, pull out the cups, put them in order, ace through 10, and walk yourself through that story. Where are you right now? Where do you need to let go? Where can you reset? Where are you stuck? Where are you not receiving? And, think of the beautiful earth around us. If the earth does not receive water, it cannot grow. If the earth does not let its leaves flat or the tree's leaves fall to the ground, right? All the nutrients that come from that, all the whole system of decomposition and everything that happens so that it can regenerate again in the spring. None of that happens. And it all has to happen in order to keep moving forward and for order for us to live here and thrive and survive. And it's no different for your life. If these systems don't cycle through and come to a completion and start again, that's why you feel stuck. That's where you feel stuck. So zoom out, use the suit of cups to look at this in your own life. So as a reminder, the suit of cups, it's water, it's autumn, it's the dreamer energy, and it's emotions in tarot. It's your emotional journey. Dare I say that is a cyclical one. And we're going to go through the emotional cycle again and again and again in life. And it's important because that's how we grow. It's how we stretch. It's how we learn. And it's how we learn to make better, more aligned decisions for ourselves. Okay, if you haven't listened to the other episodes in this series, make sure to go back through and listen because when you put it all together, you're going to learn all about the 4 stories in the minor arcana in tarot. And you're going to walk away with a great understanding of the story and how to use the story in your life. You've also learned about the expansion archetypes. You've learned about the different energies of the minor arcana suits. And there's so much to apply and just use right now. Tarot is a beautiful tool for reflection, for inner wisdom, for just helping yourself see through a problem, particularly if you're experiencing something and if you call a friend or a family member, they're just going to give you advice that you don't want to hear or make things worse by giving you all this advice and pointing out everything you did wrong. Let the tarot be your friend in that situation and reflect back to you what it is that needs to be reflected back to you in this moment. And if you want to learn more about your expansion archetype, you can join us in our next Magic Week that's happening in March at signup.thesistersenchanted.com/Magic Week. And you'll get in on that. We'll start dropping the pre-work sometime later in February. The sooner you get in, the sooner you can dive into the materials. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for hanging out. If you've not read the book, The Ocean at the End of the Lane, definitely check it out. It's a short one, a good read. I love Neil Gaiman. But for now, that is it. Until next time, I hope that you have an enchanted rest of your day ahead. Bye. If you liked this episode of the Expedition to Soul podcast, please rate, review, subscribe. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, it will really help us spread everyday magic, intention, and intuition to the masses and helps us so much as a small business. Be sure to hit that subscribe button on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If there's any topics you'd want to hear, anything you want us to dive deeper into, shoot us an email at magic@thesistersenchanted.com. And as always, thank you so much for listening and being part of the community here at the Sisters Enchanted. And we'll see you in the next episode.